Hello, investors. This is Connor Bates, Associate Portfolio Manager with Revere Asset Management. Today is Monday, March 30th, 4:43 p.m. Eastern Time. Coming to you with tonight's Revere Roundup Daily Market Insight video. And today was quite a lot of carnage in optics, memory, and many other AI stocks. And if you look trend gauge over here, market leaders, red, 21 EMA, red, medium term 50 SMA, red, and long term 200 SMA, red as well, with major indexes closing below that average. And today was just kind of a classic. The generals get shot last, and that relative strength trap that we've talked about before is that, many other areas of the market start to deteriorate, and there's only a few leaders left holding up. In this case, it was primarily many of the optics, fiber optic stocks. And eventually, they also come to the market, and many of those stocks were down quite big today. AAOI down 13%, Light down quite a bit, Sienna down 10. So we'll cover those when we get into the charts. And you can see the final numbers here. 21 over 21 list was down 1.95%, 6 green, 15 red. And definitely tough making these leader lists over the weekend and today with so much carnage and growth, because obviously we're not just going to put on a bunch of oil names that are super extended. And Turbo 12 down 5.27%, only one green on the day. And let's see, Russell 2000 down 1.44%, RG8 down 2.04%, Mag 7 holding up a little bit better, only down 0.11%. GROTECTION flat on the day, down 0.01%. TurboTection up 0.17% on the day. Let's get into the inter-asset correlation and the S&P 500, and then another ugly day. We initially opened up 53 basis points this morning, and that was met with sellers, and we pretty much faded the whole day. You can see gapped up in the morning and then just pretty much trend down day into the close, below 6,500, below the 200-day moving average, below all the averages here. And just be on the lookout for potential snapback as we continue to get stretched. About 6.7% below the 50-day, 4.2 versus the 21 EMA. And if we can't find some support, a logical area that we could find support is these pre-tariff highs at around 61, 50, 6,200. But for now, just pretty much in a clear downtrend. All pops continue to get sold, and that's the trend until it changes. RSP breaking the closing second close below the 200-day moving average today. Qs continue to be weak after slicing this 580 floor that we mentioned that could trigger some further weakness and downside, and another low here on the Qs. And again, another area that no idea if it comes all the way down here, but pre-tariff highs is logical support, which is about 540 on the Qs. Logical area if the market continues to sell off. Mag 7 continues to be weak as well, bit of a falling knife here, and this is below pre-tariff crash highs. And you can see this on the weekly chart. Not good action there. Dow Jones living below the 200-day moving average as well. Mid caps close slightly below. See if this maybe can reclaim. Let's see, Russ 2000 now closing below the 200-day moving average as well. Weak action there. ARC falling through out of this bear flag breakdown. And the 50-day has now crossed below the 200-day. FFTY getting crushed. The VIX continued closed above 30, and that continues to be a risk off signal. ATR in range in the market's big. Similar message that we've been saying for weeks now. And until this starts to come down, it's going to be a more challenging environment. Dollar, another red flag today. This one really looks like it's starting to break out. And, this looks like a pretty well-defined stage one base breakout here through 100. Gold, is this a bear flag or can this hold? It did hold this 400 level, pretty key spot. See if this can build out off that. GDX, same thing, kind of holding these left side breakout spot. Silver as well, bear flag, or is this trying to hold support? Bitcoin weak as well. Looks like it's going to make another leg lower out of this bear flag. Bonds kind of in no man's land, TLT, although up on the day, and rates pulling back today as well. Let's get into the tale of the tape. And even after today's weak market, percent of stocks with a 5-day moving average already got back up quite aggressively today. And one thing to note is that everyone wants to wash out long, the parabolic long. And, you know, if we would have gapped down today, that could have potentially been a signal, but so far this downtrend really has just been a slow bleed. That could be for handful of reasons. I've read some stuff that the market has been pretty hedged this whole time. So again, that might be a reason why. Um, but you don't always get that perfect all stars align washout opportunity like we got on April 7th of last year. So, but we already worked off some of those oversold on the 5-day on the S&P 500% of stocks with the 5-day moving average. One thing to also note is fear and greed is at 8 extreme fear. This is pretty low. You can look at this on CNN fear and greed website. You can look anytime this gets really sub 10 into those single digits. Typically has been a bottom within a couple days to couple weeks. So sentiment is pretty fearful at the moment. News wise, Wednesday we have retail sales, and reminder, it is a shortened trading week with the market closed on Friday. Red across the board for the keys, and going into tomorrow, going to be watching similar stuff, plus that 6,200 level on S&P if it even gets there, 540 on Qs, and then see if Russell can reclaim the 200-day moving average, and want to see VIX close back below 30 as well. And the ATR, the S&P 500, back up to 1.55%, and it's another red flag. When this is elevated, it's a tougher trading environment. Sectors wise, Bitcoin slightly green on the day, utility, software, regional banks, and banks, and financials pretty oversold. Berkshire Hathaway was green on the day, and just that sector's gotten killed. Even but a lot of the private credit names like Ares, Apollo, etc. And then weakness, semiconductors, uranium, energy, biotech space. Pretty much every, so many themes got crushed today. Optics, memory, AI infrastructure, space, power generation, semiconductors, really everything across the board. GROTECTION, no changes today, 0.03 RVAB, estimated balance at risk minus 0.05%. TurboTaxion, we did some profit taking in the quantum shorts. These have been really nice movers. QBTZ was about like 62% gain. RGTZ was about a 50% gain, and IONZ was about a 57% gain. So we sold half of those today on weakness. And then we also took a starter position short Bitcoin via SBIT, and then trimmed some more fastly down to a small position from the earnings gap. RVAB minus 0.19, estimated balance at risk 1.54%. Bottom line, generals get shot last, destruction in AI, memory, and optics stocks. All right, let's take a look at the new 21 over 21 list. And like I mentioned, kind of hard getting both these lists, but let's see. UTRH gapping up today on big volume, up 12.5% on almost 300% average volume. Worth watching. See, nice long-term charts as well. AA, they had some news this morning. Aluminum was moving higher overnight, and this kind of gapped up, but closed rather weak. This has been just an extremely choppy stock, but still building out this range, so worth the watch. LYB, these chemical names have been on a tear. You can see this one, huge move. I believe Dow's another one, yeah. Kava trying to hold up the 50-day moving average. Oh, and one thing to note is that for this list, we're keeping some fundamental leaders that may be below the 21 EMA, but above the 50-day. Twilio trying to hold the 200-day moving average and the 50-day. EWZ, Brazil, see this starting to tighten up a little bit after a big move, forming a new base. Netflix, definitely relative strength in the MAG 7, holding gap day lows. LNG, kind of high tight flagging. These gas names have been on a tear. XPO tight range here versus the 50-day. PSX continuing higher. PWR weakness today. And again, just in this, anything AI power got hit today. Keys as well, breaking gap day lows. Akamai pulling back to the 21. This is definitely high priority as a leader if the market starts to bounce. Net weak action, failing this cup and handle base. Dell pulling back, close below the top of the pivot, but above the 21 EMA. GEV weak today, down 4%, right into 800 and the 50-day moving average. VRT, another power name, pulling back to these gap day lows. Fastly pulling back today. See if this can continue to hold the 21 EMA or be changing character. Marvell failed breakout here. Sienna breaking the 21 EMA and just one of the names, destruction in the optics. And then Planet Labs, another space name, just crushed, gaps up on earnings, holds gap day lows, and now it just gets crushed down over 20% in 2 days. Turbo 12, NTR. This is a agriculture chemical name, building a nice flag here off the 50-day moving average. CF, another chemical name, strong move here off the 21 EMA. FROs, an oil and gas name, getting tight right under this downtrend line. ALB, nice base forming on this one. See if maybe tighten up and then break out. SOLS rejecting here, just weak market, hard to follow through. VG, oil and gas name, kind of got a high type flag here. DOCN, another high priority name. The market starts to bounce, watching, the 70 and change level, this 21 EMA, see this reclaim 80. This one's been super strong, doing nothing wrong. TSCM pulling back to the top of the base and the 21 EMA. Sedge rejecting the highs here, but see if this can hold the 21 EMA. BTU tried to break out, fouled back in, see if this can hold the range. AXTI, one of the casualties of the fiber optics sell off today. And I highlighted this in the video, of last week. At the highs, this was 434% above the 200-day moving average. That is absolutely not a place to initiate a new position. This has been super strong and had, tremendous RS, but buying something that extended, you're just asking to potentially get hit, and that did that today. The whole sector got crushed. AAOIs, another casualty here. See if this can hold the 50-day, down 13.5% almost. And again, these stocks have had some huge moves as well. So it goes both ways. But if you buy super extended into a late sector move with a very weak market backdrop, the odds are not in your favor. And, just even looking at like my quote monitor and seeing some of the other names, right? LASR was a great leader, down 16% today, breaking the 50-day moving average. Look at some of these AI infrastructure data center stocks, herein, looking like this is now into a stage 4 downtrend, breaking the 200-day moving average. NVIS went from one of the hottest stocks right straight back into the 200-day moving average. Cypher breaking down, looking like it's heading into potential stage 4. APLD, very similar look here, breaking below the 200-day moving average. All these stocks in the sector have similar looks. CoreWeave as well. Weakness off the 50-day moving average. A Labs, another one, breaking this bear flag lower in a stage 4. And many of these names look like they are confirming into stage 4. BE, another fantastic fundamental name. Just, looked like it was potentially starting to base out here, but couldn't hold, fouled, breaking, nasty 2 days below all key moving averages besides the 200-day moving average. Let's see, AMPX, another one, had a nice earnings gap, nice fall through, and now just coming straight back. See if this can, maybe this is a buy off the 50-day moving average and 10-week. You just have to see how it acts. But as you can see, LEU, this is another one down almost 8% today, breaking lower out of this bear flag, potentially looking like it is entering into a stage 4 downtrend. Some of the other space names, Rocket Lab, popped up on that SpaceX hype, rejected the 50, now breaking down lower. ASTS as well, and then Micron today getting crushed after phenomenal earnings. And one thing with this stock is that everyone always wants to talk about how cheap this stock is, and it's a cyclical stock, and kind of the best time to buy stocks like this is when they look super expensive versus when they look cheap. And for the cyclical stocks, typically a low P is a sell signal. And like I just mentioned, a high P is often a buy signal. And that's kind of what we're seeing. It had amazing earnings, gapped up, and then failed, and then it's just down 30% in a straight line ever since. Sandus, very similar action, failed breakout back below the 50-day. Seagate, weak today. Western Digital, and then some other, and then semiconductors getting hit hard again today, down almost 4.5%. That's the ETF. Look at Nvidia living below the 200-day moving average now. Avgo as well. We're short Nvidia and Avgo and Turbo right now. Looking like potentially a stage 4. AMD, gap and crap, now close right at the 200-day moving average. Let's see. Intel's another one breaking this range potentially. ARM had a recent catalyst, gave it all back. So as you can see, I could give many, many other examples, but you can see it's just not a friendly market right now, and starting to see a lot of the generals break down. And we have weak action in leadership. We have oil going parabolic. Again, new highs today. We have Nvidia below the 200-day moving average and VIX above 30, and a lot of um, geopolitical mess right now, quite frankly. So really time not to be a hero and definitely risk off. This can change at any time, and that's why we're always tracking relative strength leaders. But for now, just the name of the game is just being patient, not trading a lot. Keep trying to keep your equity curve flat and waiting until the times get better. So that is going to wrap it. As always, like to hear from you. My email is connor@revereasset.com. You can always reach out to me on Twitter at ConnorJBates_. And if you're ever interested in becoming a client, as always, reach out. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great evening.